Hi, I'm Yellow Pikmin,
And I'm WolfB7.
and today we are doing our second Q&A video.
Let's get to the questions. And the first question is from Diamond King. He has 3 questions. Do you have the Lost Pikmin seasons planned out beforehand, or do you come up with ideas while filming?
We have each season planned out beforehand, so it's all outlined, but before each episode, we decide exactly what's going to happen, and all the sets and dialogue are improv.
And the second question is, what are your inspirations for storyline?
A lot of our inspirations are all over the place, but there's also a handful of stories that were character-driven, like the Pikmin trilogy. We thought of these characters, the Mary and the kids, and we were like, oh, we really like these characters, so we're going to use them again.
And the last question is, do you think Pikmin 4 will ever come out? And I'm going to say yes. Well, definitely it will eventually come out, but I do believe that the rumors about next level games working on Pikmin 4 are actually true, and that within the next year or two, we're going to hear about Pikmin 4.
The next 3 questions are from Nathan Norley, and the first one is, what is your favorite Lost Pikmin season?
I'm going to go with Season 4 because it has the best villains, and we were able to tie up all the storylines from Seasons 1 through 3 and actually come up with a reasonable solution to everything.
We also are a big fan of Second World just because it's new and we really stepped up our game quality-wise with that season. The second question is, how many times have you played Pikmin 3? Personally, I've played far too many times to count. And the third question is, what is your favorite Pikmin enemy?
My favorite enemy is the fiery blowhog. I mean, literally, it's a walking flamethrower.
That's a tough one for me, but I think I'm gonna go with the Sheargrubs. But that probably comes from how we interpret them in our videos.
The next questions are from Jack H. We already answered the first one, but the second one, do you like Sonic the Hedgehog? He's okay. I mean, I played a few of the games, but not one of my favorites. And the last question is, what is the first video game you ever played? Well, for me, the first one I remember playing is Pac-Man on the Atari 2600. That game is bad.
We're gonna take a guess and say that the first game I played was Twilight Princess, but I didn't actually do anything competent. I just sat in the village throwing pumpkins around. The next 4 questions are from Bug Fables fan, and the first one is, when will Season 2 of Second World come out? We're aiming for summer. And the second question is, what is your favorite video that you have made?
Overall, my favorites are actually our Halloween specials, and my favorite is definitely the Lost Pikmin Halloween special in 2019.
We also like the radioactive and mutant Pikmin videos. And the third question is, what would you want in Pikmin 4? To be honest, I don't know. I just want a good game.
I'm not a big fan of time limits, and I really like to explore, so I'd really like an open world exploration type of Pikmin game.
The fourth question is, why was Sparkle's role in Season 4 so sidelined? Well, that's because the main focus of Season 4 was about the villains and wrapping up the story, and with so many main characters, we kind of had to sideline some, like Sparkles.
And NeoPixel asks, what Pikmin enemy custom plush will you make next? I actually have no idea. Don't really have any inspiration for one right now.
Both PokeProf and Super Blue Pikmin ask, will there be a Season 2 to Second World? And the answer to that is yes.
The next question is from Megan Magic Films. What is the best part about making videos?
We really like planning out the stories and making the characters.
I enjoy editing because we take all these little clips that we record with our plushes and make mini movies. Making mini movies is just really cool and lots of fun.
The next question is from Aiden, and he asks, what is the story or lore of the Dimension of the Wraith and the Elementals? Well, since our stories are typically character-driven, we only show what the characters actually know, which means a lot of things are going to stay a mystery.
And Mr. Failure asks, will the Pikmin friends ever return? Yes. Actually, we have plans to bring some of those characters back to The Lost Pikmin Second World Season 2. And they may appear in some other videos too. Stickbot Wizard asks, who, in your opinion, is a better captain? Olimar or Charlie?
We believe Charlie is the better captain because an important part of captaining is to keep your crewmate in line, but Olimar's not the best at doing that with Louie.
And then who is the better assistant, Alf or Louie?
Well, for obvious reasons just mentioned, Alf is the better assistant.
And that's related to a question from a Conish one. Olimar, Louie, President Alf, Brittany, or Charlie? Who is the better captain? For reasons that we just said, definitely Charlie. I mean, the president ran his company into the ground, like, multiple times. And technically, Louie, Alf, and Brittany are not captains.
The next question is from NeoPixel, and they ask, is there going to be another Red Pikmin Goes to School video? No. We're probably not going to have any more Red Pikmin Goes to School, and we don't have anything planned for Red Pikmin right now.
Ruby Neon asks, why was Second World so short? Well, we've been making Plush videos for a really long time, and we just don't have the time and the energy to make really long series anymore. If we can't finish it in a couple months, we may never actually finish it. So, any of the series going forward will probably be like 5 or 6 episodes and closer to an hour long. Cesar asks, what is your favorite type of Pikmin?
Well, I have a lot of favorites. I like the wing ones. Of course I like the yellow ones. And I also like the white ones.
Well, it's always hard to choose, but if I had to, I would go with the Baldwin, and of course, White Pikmin.
My favorite type of Pikmin is obviously the one that goes in my mouth. Pikmin Disco Gaming asks, what was the first Pikmin plush you got? And that would be Sparkles.
White Pikmin Pearl asks, what is your favorite Pikmin character from The Lost Pikmin or Second World?
Well, that's a tough one, but some of my favorites are the Phantom Pikmin and Dr. Pikmin.
Yeah, I really like Dr. Pikmin too. He's probably my favorite. And I also like Snowball, because Snowball is like so happy and bouncy, and you know what? There's just not a lot of happiness in this world anymore. The Small Ninja asks, and also Pikmin and Friends, basically, why did you start YouTube and doing Pikmin plush videos?
Well, we were inspired by other plush tubers like Goomzilla, Warrior Bros, and Minjake.
Yeah, and we were like, I bet you we could do that. And we tried and made a few bad videos, but I guess eventually we got it right. And then the second question from Pikmin and Friends is, if the yellow Pikmin is your favorite Pikmin, then why do you like it so much?
Well, at the time of creating the channel, yellow was easily my favorite, though actually nowadays I don't know if it would stand the same. I might have actually had a different profile when I made the channel now. The next questions are from Pizza Face Plush, and the first one is for Dr. Pikmin. What got you into combining different creatures together?
Well, when I was much younger, I had this idea of, could I make Bulborbs fly? So I took the wings of a Spectralid and attached them to the back of a Dwarf Bulborb and pushed them off a cliff. Unfortunately, that experiment failed, but it piqued my interest and curiosity into trying other combinations. And the second question is for the Bomb Rock Pikmin, or as I call them, Little Bobby. What's your actual name? Well, he actually doesn't have a name, but we do like Little Bobby. That sounds like a great name for him. Like most of our characters, they actually have like kind of code names, and we just call him the Oopsie Pikmin. Whoa! Oopsie! And the last question from Pizza Face Plush is, who are your least and most favorite characters to voice?
For me, my least favorite character to voice would be the Blue Pikmin salesman from the Pikmin trilogy. He was just a hard one to do. I couldn't get into the character very well. And for my favorite one, I would go with Tim from the Mutant and Radioactive Pikmin series, and he was also in the Halloween Special 2020.
Yeah, probably my least favorite is when we were doing the Toad Bros. It's just a very hard voice to do, the Toad voice. My favorite is definitely Snowball. Probably because it's one of the first characters I did, and just very easy to get into the Snowball character. And we got a few questions from our Discord server. First one is from Juice Snatcher. Will you guys ever make another episode of Purple Pikmin Brute Squad? Or at least a real finale? Seems like it was left in the dust. Well, probably. We really didn't mean to abandon that series. It just kind of got left in the dust.
Yup.
I mean, we did put a cameo of them in Blue Pikmin in Quarantine episode 6. So, I mean, you're not completely forgotten.
The next two questions are from Hankman, and the first one is, will you guys ever get more voice actors? Probably not. And the second question is, are you ever going to add a Pikmin onion? We have talked about making a plush onion, but we haven't settled on a design yet.
Grunt asks, will Sparkle stop being the victim of getting kidnapped for a series? Well, he already has. In Season 4 and Second World, he wasn't a victim.
Yoink.
Yeah! Freda-Guy asks, will there be any more of the Bulb Orb show? Well, yes. Most likely, we have a lot more characters that we can interview now.
Yeah, it'll be really tasty. I mean, really interesting. The next questions are from Yip, and the first question is, will Snowball play in the snow this year?
Well, since we actually got some snow, absolutely!
The next question is for Sparkles, and the question is, what is your favorite treasure?
Well, my favorite treasure is definitely my friends. And the last question is, how many times have you thought about killing off a central character in The Lost Pikmin?
Well, maybe once or twice we have thought about it, but we always decided against it because our series are meant to be happy, not sad.
Caleb23 asks, will Louie get a cooking show?
No, we will not be doing a cooking with Louie, but we will do a cooking with Pikmin. Welcome back to Cooking with Pikmin. I'm your host Louie, and this is my assistant Bubble. Now that the vegetables are done searing, it's time to put them in the pot. And now we can add the seasonings, so Bubble put the seasonings in. Now that the seasonings are in, it's time to add the final touch. This is Cooking with Pikmin after all, so Bubble, get in the pot.
Well, thanks everyone for all the questions that are submitted, and for supporting this channel, especially some people for supporting us for so long.
Yeah, we're still kind of surprised that so many people watch us play with Plush in front of a camera.
Yeah, well, until next time,
Bye!
bye.